Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV. My name is Sylvia Zulu, and here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. Judiciary officer jailed 5 years for child stealing. UPND slams PF's propaganda on church ties. 2 fake immigration officers arrested. In international news, Israeli forces take control of the Gaza side of the RAFAH crossing with Egypt. And in sports news, under-17 coach RELISHES Hero Stadium challenge. I will be back with the details shortly after this break.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and now the news in detail. A 28-year-old judiciary officer who bought a baby at the University Teaching Hospital after her child died, Precious Nkunika, and 3 others have been jailed for 5 and 2 years simple imprisonment, respectively. This follows judgment passed by Lusaka Magistrate Crispin Hapungani, which established that the 4 convicts are guilty, while 1 nutrition demonstrator, Nelly Kasolo, has been acquitted due to lack of insufficient evidence. The 4 convicts are Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer, Emily Ho and Rebecca Mkandawire, both nutrition demonstrators at UTH, who have been jailed for 5 years, and mother to Precious Nkunika, Grace Siska, who has been handed a 2-year simple imprisonment sentence. Nelson Zulu now reports.
A court judgment is like double-edged sword carrying 2 sides of the outcome. While for Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer, her mother, Grace Siska, and 2 nutrition demonstrators at the University Teaching Hospital UTH, Emily Ho and Rebecca Mkandawire, it is the worst nightmare being experienced as Lusaka Magistrate Court handed a 5-year simple imprisonment sentence to Precious and the 2 nutrition demonstrators for conniving to steal a baby after Precious Nkunika's child died. The court also handed a 2-year simple imprisonment to Grace Siska for concealing a crime as she kept the stolen baby from UTH D Block Ward in Lusaka's Kabanana compound. In passing judgment, Magistrate Crispin Hampungani Tuesday established that the quartet were guilty as they connived in an illegal syndicate to steal a baby fully knowing was not theirs. Magistrate Hampungani ruled that Precious Nkunika was the mastermind of the illegality, as Emily Ho and Rebecca Mkandawire worked as a conduit for the process of stealing the baby from UTH to Kabanana compound. It is established through the court that the convicts on May 7, 2022, with intent to deprive Elena Lungu as a parent with lawful care, the quartet stole a child under the age of 16 years from the possession of Miss Lungu when the mother and the baby were admitted at UTH from Kafue General Hospital, allegations which the convicts denied during trial. In mitigation, through their lawyers, the convict pleaded for lenience and for the court to grant a suspended sentence because they were first offenders and are remorseful, but Magistrate Hampungani indicated that it would be a mockery of justice to issue a suspended sentence, as expectant mothers are now meant to believe that delivering from hospitals is dangerous. Hence the sentence should sound a warning to would-be baby thieves. Meanwhile, as judgment was meted to the quartet, the court acquitted accused number 4, Nelly Kasalo, as it was established that the evidence in court did not amount to her involvement in the stealing of the baby. Shortly after the acquittal, Nelly burst into happiness as she failed to contain the court's verdict. Meanwhile, the grandmother of the baby, established to have been stolen, spoke to the media after judgment, where she revealed that her daughter suffered a stroke and only hopes the convict will learn their lesson.
Kila mwana wanga naoneka msiku wanga nilinaye olowepa nani chitiracho ipa lai kila mzanja mambo yambuya mulunga wakile kushida zao vamile mina nachitakuli nda mwana wanga izi mpeni oipa senze pa condition ya kuipa koma bebe no chitira bintu boipa koma niyamikira au ambuye mulungu wachifundo mziku wanga naoneka nilinaye mwana wanga kumasana pole hapa so ganiza naye pesimiziva hapa nishita so kwa koma kuyendaye kuanzia msisi
tafutika kuyenda chita branch batilero mulungu atimasola ziko mwana wake naye.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Court, High Court Division, has dismissed an application by former Tourism Minister Rona Chitotela to stay the execution of a judgment that ordered him to pay construction company 6.5 million kwacha following his admission that he owed the company money for the construction of his house. The court ruled that Mr. Chitotela has not certified it by meeting the conditions for a stay of orders to be granted. In this matter, the former cabinet minister applied to set aside the order instructing bailiffs to seize his chattel.
On 26 April 2024, former Minister of Tourism Rona Chitotela sought the court's intervention to halt the enforcement of an order seeking to grab his goods and chattel as means to raise more than 5,960,000 kwacha for a construction company for which he owes money after it built a house for him in Chongwe area of Lusaka province. However, the former minister risked losing goods and chattel worth 9,650,000 kwacha as the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, High Court Division, has dismissed the application on grounds that Mr. Chitotela failed to satisfy the condition for a stay of order to be granted. The Pambasha lawmaker wanted the court to stay the execution of the judgment pending hearing and determination of his application, to vary the judgment sum and to set aside the writ of FIFAM. This was after Azad Investment Limited issued a writ of fieri facias, meaning an order to a sheriff for executing a judgment against Mr. Chitotela obtained last year, in which the court ordered the Pambasha Member of Parliament to pay the firm 6.5 million kwacha. In a ruling passed by Judge Pixie Angailo, Ian Mabolobolo and Vincent Siloka, the court states that it is considered that the lawmaker stated if the judgment on admission is not halted, it will unfairly enrich the construction company, but peruse of the record reveals that the first defendant has not yet filed his intended applications to vary the judgment sum and to set aside the writ of FIFA. As such, the court is unable to preview the prospect of the proposed application. The court also stated that there is no prospect of varying the judgment as it was arrived at based on Mr. Chitotela's admission and the evidence produced before court, and also ruled that Mr. Chitotela did not demonstrate that he would suffer severe loss if the order of stay is not guaranteed. As such, the matter returns on June 4th, 2024 for a hearing of the application for special leave to review ruling filed on May 26th, 2023. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Inyama Town Council has disbursed 2,003,005 kwacha grants to 38 groups in the district for 2024 Constituency Development Fund. Kayema Town Council Secretary Dr. Moses Mutioka emphasized that beneficiaries of the grants should not share the money but use it for the intended purposes.
Kayema Town Council has dispersed 2,305,000 kwacha grants to 38 groups in the district for 2024 Constituency Development Fund. And Dr. Moses Mutioka is in Kayema Town Council Secretary.
Minister, we are proud that this is where we are moving. Apart from this one, I want also to mention to you that very soon we'll be holding another similar gathering for the loans. We are talking about a total of 2,305,000 kwacha that will be disbursed to the grant applicants. But so let us not take this money for sharing or do anything else away from the proposal that you submitted. No one should mislead you to say this money, just share it, it's just given to you. Yes, it's a grant, but a grant must be spent according to intended purpose. Council has got no role. It's about you applicant and the bank. The bank, if it does not clear you, you have got a loan existing somewhere. You have not done a cash flow properly. The bank will send those papers back to us, to send them back to you, to make the corrections.
Others who spoke, Kuye Area Councillor Brian Namangolwa, and some beneficiaries who expressed their gratitude towards the grants.
To those who receive this great gift, let us go and invest. We are aware that amongst yourselves there are also enemies of progress who encourage you to share. Then immediately you receive the money and invest, and then you share from the profit that you are going to make.
We are going to focus on our business plan. We are not going to change. We are going to sit down again with other group. We see that what are we going to do with this money.
Officiating the handing over of grants, Western Province Minister Kapilwambangweta has called on the beneficiaries of the grants to put it to good use.
The principle of what we are doing now of giving grants is that the people, once they are given grants, they must be self-sustaining by creating better livelihoods for themselves and for the others. We appeal to the recipients for this morning that please go and implement the projects, because the auditors will come to see what you are doing. Finally, on national issues, we are going to do this road very soon. So we as politicians, we are not going to talk about this road now, because as far as we are concerned, it's a done deal.
Constituency Development Fund is a type of decentralized government funding that is supposed to deliver goods and services directly to the constituency, as government increased it from 28.3 in 2023 to 30.6 million in 2024. Museo Kabila for Camnet News in Kayema District of Western Province.
The ruling UPND has dismissed assertions made by the Edgar Lungu-led Patriotic Front-led faction that it has a strained relationship with the Catholic Church. Addressing the media Tuesday, UPND consultant Mark Simue dismissed statements from PF's Given Lubinda and George Chisanga, alleging that UPND Secretary General Batuka Imenda has insulted clergy members. Mr. Simue labeled these claims as PF propaganda aimed at political gain. He emphasized UPND's commitment to strengthening its ties with the Catholic Church to promote national unity and peace.
The United Party for National Development UPND has dismissed claims by the Patriotic Front PF of the party being in conflict with the Catholic Church. The UPND says it has noted the propaganda being spearheaded by the Patriotic Front PF and has since described it as false, stating that their party remains in good books with the Catholic Church, as opposed to the narrative being communicated to the public by Given Lubinda and his counterpart George Chisanga. Addressing the media Tuesday 7th May 2024, UPND consultant Maximuwe has described the allegations as false and unfounded, emphasizing that the UPND has been a staunch believer in the efforts of the Catholic Church in bringing unity and peace in the country.
We have taken note of the state-managed, sustained propaganda by the Patriotic Front, zealots or cadres, who include Mr. Chisanga and Mr. Kelvin in one of the daily tabloids, that the United Party for National Development Secretary General, Honorable Batuke Menda, has been insulting the Catholic Church, especially after my appearance on the Hot FM's flagship program down the Hot Seat. We wish to put it on record that there is no conflict whatsoever between the Secretary General and the Catholic Church. And later on, the UPND itself. It must be stressed that the UPND is a staunch believer in the role that the Church has played in the governance system of our country, and most importantly, in socio-economic contributions, unity, peace, and guidance.
He adds that the public should not entertain the remarks as they are aimed at denting the image of the party with the Church, given that no statement has been issued by the Catholic Church to this effect. Mr. Simuwe has further refuted allegations that the country's democratic status is in decline, saying that Zambia has been ranked among the most democratic nations in Africa and the world at large since UPND assumed office.
Earlier this year, it established that Zambia was classified among the top 3 most democratizing states in the world. Not democratic, completely. The most top 3 democratizing states in the world. And it is being used as a case study, as you may be aware, for democracy. Effective 2021. The next point, another research, I'm sure you saw many of you, which was posted by former President of Botswana, President Kama, in which your head of state in terms of governance issues, democracy and everything, is topping. Another research was conducted which showed your president as 5th in Africa in terms of enhancing democratic space, governance, and just all the issues in total.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Former Minister of Defense Richwell Siamunene has urged government to urgently address the burden caused by fuel and electricity tariffs increases on the country's economy. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Siamunene, who is also a mindset change activist, predicts a rise in the prices of goods and services, stating that this will make life more difficult for many citizens in the country. He adds that government should put in place measures that will cushion the high cost of living, as it is among the most pressing concern from the public.
Increase in fuel, these two aspects will cause the increase in all goods and services. Now, and some of these goods and services, like for example, our staple food, minimum, it will increase, and already the people are not able to afford. The majority of Zambians are not able to afford right now, meaning that there is an expected increase immediately. Now, the short-term solution, where we are now as a country, for me, it's better to abandon other things that requires funding and concentrate on the key issue that is prevailing now, which is food. Because if you don't handle the issue of food, it has security consequences. So as a result, the government now, for me, the CDF and any other issues that are peripheral in nature, they must discontinue there and concentrate to the issues of food, to the issues of fuel. I know that there are certain conditions that they have agreed with the IMF and so on and so forth in order for them to approve what. But looking at the situation, the Zambian government has a responsibility to the Zambian people, and they must make lives of the Zambian people affordable, easy. So much so that those commodities that are essential to the well-being of the Zambian people, at least there is a relief of some kind.
Meanwhile, economist Kelvin Chisanga has advised citizens to develop a habit of prudently using their resources and save as much as they can by cutting off on irrelevant expenditure. In an interview, Mr. Chisanga notes that the recent upward adjustment of prices of fuel and electricity tariffs will significantly impact domestic economic activities negatively and is detrimental to the country's economic growth trajectory.
Are not warranting impulse buying and also haphazard planning. It requires some bit of modality in a way that we should be able to work around expenditure columns. At household level, we need to look at a way in which we should be able to have a deep sense of saving. Perhaps each and every income that comes in should have an idea of about 20% saving culture each and every time. A proper conscious decision around the expenditure side, and also ensuring that we have more than one stream of income to actually help buffer the shocks that come around with the cost pressure that we are able to see.
Two residents of Lusaka's Lilanda compound have been arrested for allegedly impersonating as immigration officers. Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the duo, identified as Timothy Kampamba, 26, and Abraham Mulenga, 30, allegedly presented themselves as officers and arrested a worker of a shop owned by a foreign national in Ballaston Park area after refusing to give them undisclosed amount of money which they demanded. Mr. Mwale adds that Mr. Kampamba was in full immigration uniform, while Mr. Mulenga was in a suit before being detained at Lilanda Compound Police Post. He further says while at the police post, officers interrogated the duo and later discovered that they were not employed by the Department of Immigration.
Police have arrested two people for personating public officers. The suspects, identified as Timothy Kampamba, 26, of Soweto B in Kapirimposhi district, and Abraham Mulenga, aged 30, of Lilanda compound in Lusaka, today around 09 hours, presented themselves as officers from the Department of Immigration and arrested a worker at a shop owned by a foreign national in Baraston Park area, after he refused to give them an undisclosed amount of money which they demanded. Mr. Kampamba was in full Department of Immigration uniform, while Mr. Mulenga was in a suit. They later managed to have their suspect detained at Lilanda Compound Police Post. While at the police post, police officers immediately interrogated the two and later discovered that they were not employed by the Department of Immigration. Investigation further revealed that they threatened to arrest another salesman near Eden University in the same area. Officers from the Department of Immigration were informed and confirmed that the suspects were not employees of the Department of Immigration. They have been detained in police custody yet to be formally charged.
We now take our first set of commercials. I will be back with more news after the break.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa. Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll now continue with more news. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has issued the tender for the printing and delivery of ballot papers, ballot paper posters, blind voter templates, and registers of voters, among other electoral materials. ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Brown Kasaro says the decision follows the cancellation of the aforementioned tender in March due to significant changes in the bidding conditions and the bidding conditions of contracts contained in the issued soliciting document. He adds the tender is open to eligible bidders, both local and international, and will be administered following the rules under International Competitive Bidding Procedures as provided for in the Zambia Public Procurement Act No. 8 of 2020 and Public Procurement Regulations 2022. Meanwhile, Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba has cautioned ECZ from awarding contracts to questionable companies who do not meet the conditions of the tender.
As Citizens First, we have taken note of the re-advertisement of the tender for printing and delivery of various electoral materials following the cancellation of the earlier tender in March 2024 due to what they termed significant changes in the bidding conditions and the conditions of contract contained in the issued solicitation document. As a stakeholder in the electoral process, we call on the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to ensure there is transparency in all the tendering processes and ensure only capable bidders are awarded the contract to print ballot papers and other electoral materials. The UPND government is known to award contracts to questionable companies who in most cases do not meet the criteria, and we take this decision by ECZ to re-advertise the tender with a pinch of salt. We reiterate that elections play a crucial part in the democratic dispensation of the country, and we urge the ECZ to be cautious in the manner they handle elections to avoid triggering emotions among the citizens. We have seen how the ECZ has been used to bar certain political parties from participating in by-elections by rejecting candidates, and we hope this questionable conduct will not be extended into the 2026 general elections. Harry Kalaba, President, Citizens First, a member of the United Kwacha Alliance.
The Media Liaison Committee has welcomed the Ministry of Information and Media's proposal for a designated minimum wage for journalists and media professionals in the country. In an interview, Media Liaison Committee Chairperson Ernest Chanda says the media industry lacks a clear wage standard unlike other professions. Mr. Chanda says the government can establish this minimum wage independently of the Zambia Media Council ZAMEC bill.
Is a labor issue for now. ZAMEC is primarily about media regulation. So if they are serious about a minimum wage, which will come so much, even now, they can talk about it. They can revise the law and set it up through the Ministry of Labor. The government can do that. They don't necessarily have to wait for the Zambia Media Council bill. The minimum wage is certainly welcome. It's on the media, which is probably among the few institutions where the government has not set the minimum wage. Otherwise, it's highly welcome. We want it so much. Labor, that is a labor issue.
British High Commissioner to Zambia, Nicholas Wale, says he is highly impressed with the adaptability of Zambia Sugar PLC in its business processes, especially in using new efficient irrigation technology amidst the effects of climate change. Speaking to the media Tuesday morning after a tour of the plant the previous day, High Commissioner Wale praised Zambia Sugar for being such a trailblazer that has a self-sufficient value chain within the country. And speaking during the same interaction, Zambia Sugar PLC Managing Director Oswald Magwenzi regretted the impact of the current drought and power crisis on smallholder cane growers.
Which has been particularly important, of course, as Zambia is suffering this year from the devastating drought, and to see the measures that the companies are putting in place to protect its production, protect its staff and employment and the livelihoods that depend on the production is very encouraging indeed. The company continues to provide a big source of income for the Zambian government through in no small part, the very large amount of tax that it pays. It is very trailblazing in the sense of it producing the whole value chain from growing the crop right through to the processing, right through to the production. And that ensures that the value of the material and the end product is retained here in Zambia. It's also increasingly earning additional funds for Zambia from the export business. I think around $200 million per annum, latest statistics show. So there's a huge demand for this product, not just within Zambia, but outside Zambia and across the region as well. So it's a real Zambian success story made possible by the skills, the enterprise of the Zambians who work for this company, and of course also the British investment as well that's helping to support the jobs and the livelihoods and production of Zambia Sugar.
As I said, the situation might get worse, or if the power supply improves, it might get better. But based on the information that we have at the moment, that is the range that we expect production to drop by. Actually, don't think that jobs will be impacted significantly or at all. I think as a company we will do the best that we can to make sure that no one loses their job as a result of this drought.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested and charged former Monze Town Council Secretary Benson Mbwenje and a former councillor for Hamangaba Ward, Bwenga constituency, Maybe Mudenda Chongo, for conflict of interest. SCC Head of Corporate Communications, Timothy Mono, says Mr. Benson Mbwenje, 47, of House Number 6 and currently Council Secretary at Iteji Town Council, has been charged with 1 count of conflict of interest, contrary to Section 28, Clause 2, as read together with Section 41 of the Anti-Corruption Act Number 3 of 2012 of the laws of Zambia.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has indeed arrested and charged former Monze Town Council Secretary Benson Wenje and a former councillor for Hamangaba Ward in Wengwa constituency, Mabin Mudenda Chongo, for conflict of interest. This is a matter in which Benson Wenje has been charged with one count of conflict of interest contrary to Section 28 as read with Section 41 of the Anti-Corruption Act number 3 of 2012. On the other hand, Mabin Mdenda Chongo has also been arrested and charged with one count of conflict of interest contrary to paragraph 6, 1 and 7 of the third schedule of the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia. Benson Wenje and Mabin Mdenda bought a plot each from a person in Monze who had a residential plot, and they requested him to have it subdivided for purposes of them being able to use their plots in the manner that they wanted. So they requested this vendor of the plot to make an application to the council, Monze Council, for change of use and subdivision of the said plot. And in the process, Wenje, who was a town council secretary, and Chongo, who was a councillor, they sat in the meeting of the council that deliberated on the application to approve the subdivision as well as the change of use of this plot. And this amounted to conflict of interest. Consequently, they have been arrested for that offense.
We now take our last break. Still to come in the news is international stories as well as sports news. Stay tuned.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
And now for the rest of the news. In international news, and as An Israeli tank brigade seized control Tuesday of the Gaza Strip side of the RAFAH border crossing with Egypt. The move comes after hours of whiplash in the Israel-Hamas war, with the militant group on Monday saying it accepted an Egyptian-Qatari-mediated ceasefire proposal. Israel, meanwhile, insisted the deal did not meet its core demands. The high-stakes diplomatic moves and military brinkmanship left a glimmer of hope alive, but only barely for an accord that could bring at least a pause in the 7-month-old war that has devastated the Gaza Strip. Here's a roundup of international news.
An Israeli tank brigade seized control Tuesday of the Gaza Strip side of the RAFAH border crossing with Egypt, moving forward with an offensive in the southern city even as ceasefire negotiations with Hamas remains on a knife's edge, according to Israeli authorities. The move comes after hours of whiplash in the Israel-Hamas war, with the militant group on Monday saying it accepted an Egyptian-Qatari-mediated ceasefire proposal. Israel, meanwhile, insisted the deal did not meet its core demands. The high-stakes diplomatic moves and military brinkmanship left a glimmer of hope alive, but only barely for an accord that could bring at least a pause in the 7-month-old war that has devastated the Gaza Strip. The Israeli brigade entered the RAFAH crossing early Tuesday morning, according to the authorities, taking operational control of the crucial crossing. It's the main route for aid entering the besieged enclave, an exit for those able to flee into Egypt. Counting commenced on Monday evening in Chad for a presidential election intended to mark the end of 3 years of military rule. However, it evolved into an unprecedented showdown between General Mohamed Idris Deby Itno, head of the junta, and his Prime Minister Succès Masra, a former opponent turned ally. Some observers faced accreditation challenges with no explanation given for the refusal, according to Citizens Alliance for Election, a monitoring platform, in a statement issued on Sunday. One voter reflected on the mood. If I was to compare it to the previous elections, I think this year there is a desire for change that I've noticed in everyone. A lot of people have come out to vote. The ballot featured 10 candidates, including a woman, with over 8 million registered voters in a country of more than 17 million. Counting commenced on Monday evening in Chad for a presidential election intended to mark the end of 3 years of military rule. However, it evolved into an unprecedented showdown between General Mohamed Idris Deby Itno, head of the junta, and his Prime Minister Succès Masra, a former opponent turned ally. Some observers faced accreditation challenges with no explanation given for the refusal, according to Citizens Alliance for Election, a monitoring platform, in a statement issued on Sunday. One voter reflected on the mood. If I was to compare it to the previous elections, I think this year there is a desire for change that I've noticed.
Zambia Under-17 women's national team coach Caro Kanyemba says the Copper Princesses cannot wait to play in front of supporters at National Hero Stadium for the first time on Sunday. Zambia will have the opportunity to play at the 50,009 capacity stadium when they take on Uganda in the 2024 Under-17 FIFA Women's World Cup third round, first leg qualifier. It will be the first time that a women's national team will be setting foot at the ultra-modern stadium for a competitive match since it was opened in May 2014. The match will kick off at 12:30 hours, and Kanyamba shares the team's readiness for the exciting encounter against the Teen Cranes, who knocked out Cameroon to set up a third-round meeting with the Copper Princesses. She says the friendlies have been a good test to the team as they help see how they could contend the pressure. We end the news, but before we go, here's a recap of the stories making headlines. Judiciary officer jailed 5 years for child stealing. UPND slams PF's propaganda on church ties. 2 fake immigration officers arrested. In international news, Israeli forces take control of the Gaza side of the RAFAH crossing with Egypt. And in sports news, under-17 coach relishes Hero Stadium challenge. Our verse for the day is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians 9, verse 8. And God is able to make all grace around toward you, that ye, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zudu. Good night and God bless you.